Hey, what's happening, Wes? How's it going, man?
It's going absolutely splendidly, Brian. I've played so much VR today and this week.
This
I'm on
week.
cloud nine right now.
Sorry.
Yeah, this week. How are you?
I mean, I'm pretty much in the same boat. You know that I'd been kind of taking a break from PSVR toward the end there. The last couple months, there wasn't a lot happening, and so I was playing a lot of Fortnite, a lot of flat screen gaming. It is weird to be back in the headset, like a lot, and I love it, man. I absolutely love it. Every single time I step into PSVR2, I kind of love it a little bit more. Um, and Yeah, I mean, I hope everyone's with us on that. Like, it's going to be a great generation.
Yeah, I concur wholeheartedly. It's been a blast, and I have just scratched the surface of like my library. Like, this is going to take the rest of the year to work through all of this.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. Uh, but let's not take the rest of the year to start the show. Let's get this thing started.
Let's go.
This is PSVR GamesCast Live. We film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and Two Wise Friday right here on PSVR without parole. We also do it audio style, not just live video on YouTube. Audio style, MP3 format. Thanks to our good friend Jamie, who uploads this thing on podcast services of your choice. My name is Brian Paul from this channel right here. That's a tornado behind me, and over here on my right, that's Wes Dillon from Virtual Strangers. Wes, what's going on this fantastic West Day?
You know what's up, man. I just said it. VR, 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 and more VR, and it's all PSVR, which is excellent. It's an excellent change of pace from the last couple of years, honestly. And again, I could not be happier. Like we have stuff to play again, Brian. It's incredible.
Yeah, man, did you happen to catch any of my Resident Evil Village live stream earlier? I'm sure you didn't because, like, you're a busy dude. You got shit to do. But it was terrifying. Everyone told me Resident Evil 8 is not nearly as scary as Resident Evil 7, and that might be true for the full game. But I'll tell you, the parts that I went through early on, I was absolutely terrified, and there was a point where I teared up a little bit. Wasn't joking around. I was a little scared to move, and a tear came to my eye, and I was like, I don't know if I'm really happy about this, or if I'm terrified and embarrassed because there's a camera on me. But either way, loving it.
That first chapter is killer, right? Like
Yeah.
making your way through that village is an experience all into itself.
Yeah, yeah. But that's what's happening over here on Without Parole. If you guys don't know, Wes Dillon has his own channel where he hangs out with a much cooler group of friends. I wouldn't fit in over there. Over on Virtual Strangers. The link for that is in the description below. Make sure you subscribe. Wes, what is happening over there this week, tonight? Fill me in. Fill the cats in.
Dude, so much happening on our neck of the woods. First of all, what are we doing now? We're going to run down some extended thoughts on the hardware. We're going to list it all out, good, bad, and ugly. Everything that's great, everything that's not so great, and give our extended impressions now that we've had a week. I think Brad's going to come on and talk to us about some stuff as well. He's doing some, he's ordered new equipment and he's doing all kinds of scientific testing, and we're going to find out what Brad's been looking at as well. We're going to name winners for our Light Brigade giveaway. We have an EU key, we have an NA key. I think one of each, maybe two. We've got a couple keys we're giving away. This is the last call on this one, guys. We'll probably leave entries open for about another hour after the end of this episode. So if you want to get in on that, go to our most recent episode and leave a comment. Tell us what your region code is, and we're going to draw a couple winners later. We're going to talk Horizon. I finished Horizon today, and Eric's about to finish it probably as we speak, and we're going to do a full review discussion of Horizon. And then if we have time, we're going to give some impressions on Gran Turismo as well.
If you have time now, this is a channel that's known for its 3+ hour shows. At what point do you go, we got to cut this off because we're over our time? Like, that just doesn't sound like something the Virtual Strangers say.
No, what I mean is I just literally drug my wheel out of the corner about an hour ago. So
Got you.
those guys, Eric and Roots, have played a ton of Gran Turismo, and they're the ones insisting that we have to talk about this right now. So I'm going to try to get some, a couple hours in, and then we're going to talk about that. Also, I want to mention Eric. Eric accidentally ordered an extra PSVR2,
That's a happy
Ryan, and
accident.
it is a happy accident. It's happy for the people because instead of sending it back, he's giving it away. And I don't have a link for it quite yet. He's doing a Gleam giveaway. It's going to last a week, starting from tonight, and I think it's going to run. They're going to draw next Thursday. But just follow our socials: Virtual Strangers Discord, Q2CVR Gamer on all the socials, YouTube, Facebook, all of it. Just watch our space, and we'll have that link. We'll probably have it ready later tonight when we go live on the show.
Eric's a good dude, man. A lot of people have just sent it back or sold it, and it's a lot of money. So it's very cool that he's giving back to the community like that.
Agreed.
Wes, we've got so much shit to talk about today. I mean, like a ridiculous amount of shit to talk about. I'm going to jump into a couple tips, but then I'm just kind of warning you because we didn't really put a show together today. We were just like, we got 3 minutes. Let's do this. But I want you to be thinking about this because I do want to kind of hear your thoughts on the PSVR 2 headset itself. I know it's going to be a little bit of a spoiler, of course, for the Virtual Stranger stream tonight. But I'm doing the format this way. I get to check in with you individually, and AJ individually, and Miles individually, and I feel like you're the one I haven't checked in with in the longest since launch. So keep that in mind as I read these tips. Man, Bear, Pig, Game, Cat, he is real. $2 tip says Wes's poker face. Hard to tell when he's excited. PSVR 2. Do you have a poker face? Very, very relaxed.
Yeah. I'm sorry I have to do this. You know who loves it when you poker face, Brian?
Yeah.
Sorry. I had to. I couldn't help myself.
Listen. It goes through my head. Just because I don't say it out loud doesn't mean I don't think it. That is a thing over here. I'm the least mature person I know, man. So that clock's over here. Danorama Pajama, the PSVR 2 game cat with a 10 quid says RE8 looks great, but that first walk, I was too scared. I noped out, never to return, and I've actually played the game flat screen, so I know what happens. Horror is just too much for me. Wow, that's impressive, man. Like, you even know what happens and you can't handle it. I mean, I didn't know it was going to happen, and I almost couldn't handle it. Like, that makes sense to me. But knowing? All right.
Yeah. This is why we love these games, right, Brian? Because we're if you're like me, you're dead inside and you don't feel much. So when a game can elicit any kind of feeling, that's my favorite thing. And really, it's only mostly horror games, that can speed my pulse up just a little bit. So yeah, that's why I have a poker face. That's why I love horror games. It's because my soul is crushed on the inside.
Yeah, dude, I couldn't believe how good it looked too. I've got to say that. Like, it's we'll talk about Horizon in just a second, but having just finished Horizon and gotten the review out and really talked about that and how, like, really its biggest selling point, or one of its biggest selling points, is simply just how beautiful it is. I actually think Village might be a better system seller. It is stunning. Like, it just looks fantastic.
Yeah, I think that Village is probably going to be a better game for hardcores. I think that Horizon, and we'll talk more about it in just a moment, I think it's more of a kind of a tweener. It's got something in there for people like us who have spent years in VR, but it's also accessible enough for newbies to get into and enjoy as well.
Except for Danorama Pajama.
Except for that guy.
Which is okay, man. We love you no matter what. Latin, the Game Hound. Huh. I don't think I'm familiar with Latin, the Game Hound, but I like it. Maybe it's Latin. With a $10 tip, says, it's been 1 week. That's a song, isn't it? I'm very sore, Synth Riders, and I love the Kayak VR races. And I've lost 3 pounds. Congratulations, Latin, as I'm going to call you from now on, whether that's your name or not. Thank you, PSVR2, and thank you guys for your dedication to the community. No, thank you, Latin. It's not how you pronounce it, I guarantee it. Mr. _ HKP with the 10 quid says, used your video on anti-blur in a comment about EV and saturation in-game changes from my Brandon S in the chat. This is a lot of words that I feel like don't actually go well together. But he ends it with saying, my Gran Turismo 7 is looking clear and mighty fine. Thank you. So my blur video helped somebody, Wes. It's nice. It's nice.
Oh yeah. Okay. Is that what that meant?
Yeah. I know. I'm sure that if you read it in a different way, it makes more sense. I gotta say, man, there's one thing that we didn't address in that blur video, and it's gonna sound real dumb when I say it, but like, Sass in the Discord voice chat today said, what was interesting is that like you can actually put it on wrong, like in the sense that like not just up or down vertically, but like it could be a little offset left or right, and if your eyes aren't like perfectly centered, that could be a thing too. And so that kind of stuck in my head. And so when I went to play Village today, I did the whole vision thing first, where you can like see your eyes and adjust the IPD slider, so you can actually see where your pupils are as you move the things in and out. And both of my eyes were kind of off to the left a little bit, and so I did actually have to go boom, just kind of turn the headset like just a degree. And then suddenly my eyes were in the middle, and I was like, "Is this always the case?" And then when I played Resident Evil, I was like, I think this looks even better than what I've been seeing. So there's like a million little things that could be causing problems. So I'm glad people are figuring it out. I'm glad I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah, and it's an easy mistake to make too, because the PSVR Halo straps, they sit on your head so much differently than the Oculus headsets that everyone's been playing for the last couple of years. So your muscle memory is telling you to put it on like maybe a Bobo strap or one of the Kiwi straps, but that's not how it works. It works completely differently. And you're right. There's an easy remedy to that, and that is to just take the 30 seconds or whatever to set up the vision setup all over again. I kind of wish there was an option to where you can just make that default. When you put the headset on, it just automatically pops it up, lets you see where you're at, and then click out of it.
Yeah,
that would be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool. And so with all this out of the way, with all these different solutions to fixing the problems that you might be having, Wes, I think it's time to hear about your first week impressions with the hardware itself. Are you happy with your PSVR2?
I'm very happy with my PSVR2. It's such a weird thing, because we had these expectations for it of it being this just absolutely flawless headset, and in reality, nothing's ever flawless. There's always trade-offs, and this has been no different. But I think a lot of the criticism that it's gotten has been overblown, over exaggerated, and the total package at the end of the day is the best I've tried. So, I mean, what else can you really say? I mean, the best is the best, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think that maybe some people thought it was going to be the holodeck. It was just going to be, sorry, lots of sirens on my end before and now. But I mean, I'm so fucking ecstatic about what we got, that it was exactly what I was hoping for, if not better. The little things that people who can't like see past the Mura or the goggle effects or whatever the little thing is that they're hanging on. I just feel it kind of makes me a little bit sad. It makes me feel bad for them that they can't like just enjoy what it is, because they're so focused on what they might be considering an imperfection. It's like, those, I kind of think about those 3D drawings. You remember the 3D drawings that were all the rage when we were like 10 years old? That you couldn't walk through the mall without seeing them, and they just look like patterns. And then if you stare at them, right, eventually they come into focus. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a giraffe. How did I not see it? But you have to just kind of like let your eyes like relax and not. And when you stop looking for the flaws, it's funny because then you stop seeing them, right? I'm not looking at the lenses. I'm looking at the game in the lenses. I'm not looking at the the border of my vision. I'm looking into the game. And eventually all that kind of just fades away. And then you're left with what you said, like one of the best headsets I've ever tried.
Yeah. My path with this one's been a little bit weird because on day one, I didn't see any of this stuff. I heard people talking about it, but literally I didn't see any God rays. I didn't see any Mira. Like, it was like, I was surprised. I'm like, did I just get like the best one they made or something? What's going on here?
Yeah.
And then over the course of the week, it became more and more clear to me, these so-called flaws. And it got toward the end of the week that I could not see them. But now, having spent a few more days in it, I'm starting to get used to it again. And it's funny, man, because, as much attention as these few, handful of things have gotten this week, honestly, this is the same stuff that people were saying and pointing out about PSVR1, Mira, reprojection. This is kind of stuff that people had problems with that, but it's at such a lesser extent now to what it was then. It's I don't know, orders of magnitude smaller in terms of intensity now than it was then. And conversely, the strength of the platform is the same thing that it always has been. It's the games. The games are on another level. Even the Quest ports that we thought were just going to be, filler, those games are on another level from what they are on the other platforms. And I think it's funny because, in my opinion, what was, the tagline coming into launch was the weak library, right?
Right.
I think that the library has turned out to be probably the strength of the platform and the thing that makes it most worth, putting your time and dollars into it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm just, I'm really, really I'm happy that most people seem to be enjoying their time with it, and hopefully we've been able to help the people who haven't, who haven't had as good of a time as we have. And of course, there's going to be real issues out there too that need to be addressed. So I want to make sure that everybody gets to say their piece. Here in the comments, might not be the best place for it, but we over on Discord, as my pinned comment says, there's a lot of very, very helpful people in our community, and we're all definitely willing to help people nail down what the problem is and try to figure that out. So thank you guys again for being just a ridiculously awesome community.
There are ways to mitigate most of this, but the biggest remedy for any of it is just time and experience. And most of the time you'll figure it out on your own. But if you want help, Brian's absolutely right. There are people willing to give good advice 24/7 on the Without Parole Discord.
Roy Martini in the chat with the $5 tip says, waiting on a replacement unit. He had a loud fan noise, and I've been living vicariously through this awesome community. You cats rock. And then he put cat noise in parentheses, so I'll make that. Thank you, Roy Martini. See, an actual problem. Loud fan noise. Future Bassmaster with the $4 tip says, who won the Horizon boat ride pizza bet?
I got to give this one up to you, Brian. I believe the crux of our bet was I was betting that the Horizon boat ride demo would be nothing more than the front end of the game clipped off to allow people to kind of get a look at the intro without playing the game. Your bet was that it would be a separate thing, a separate demo, and you were absolutely right. So I owe you a pizza here, bro.
I've been so wrong so many times. I highly doubt that this will be the last pizza exchange between the two of us. Also, I think I said it was going to be 10 minutes or something. I don't think it was even 10 minutes. It felt like it was 5 minutes. So I don't think I was 100% right on all this.
Yeah, I didn't even try it. Like, I literally just finished the game a few hours ago, and like, it took me probably a good 3-hour session today to do what I thought was going to be, 30 minutes to an hour. Yeah. And by that time I was ready to take the thing off and get a break in, Well,
what a perfect segue, Wes, because having already gotten my review out there and told everybody what I thought of it, and we've been talking about it all week, I want to hear your thoughts. I gave this thing an 8.4. Definitely it is a climbing game. And so just like if you don't like sim racers, don't buy Gran Turismo. If you don't like climbing games, don't buy Horizon. But I desperately want to hear your thoughts, man. I tried to go as quiet as I could doing my review and not being influenced by what other people said. And so now all bets are off. I want to hear what you got to say.
It's interesting, man, because as reviewers, we try to kind of nitpick it and try to find areas for improvement. But I try to approach it from the perspective of just someone who bought the game and is playing it for the first time. And I got to say, man, in most ways, it has exceeded my expectations for it. I'm sure you noticed over the last few weeks leading up to launch, I kind of tried to manage people's expectations for this title
Mm-hmm.
because I really didn't think it was going to be as good as it actually turned out to be. And much like some of the preconceived notions about PSVR2 leading into launch, I feel like some of what we had considered to probably be the weaknesses of Horizon turned out to be some of the strongest points of it.
I'm trying to process all that. So, what did we think were the weaknesses? Are we talking about the combat, the combat arena?
Combat, too much climbing. Mm-hmm. Like the combat specifically, I thought that the rail-based movement was going to be just terrible. Like I didn't think it was going to be good at all. I was hopeful that it turned out to be manageable, something that didn't really drag the game down. But I really enjoyed the combat sequences in this game. I thought it was, in most cases, that it was really exciting. There, for the longest time, we were scared that maybe it would only be one enemy at a time, and then they would always stay in front of you. Mm-hmm. Not the case. This is a full 360 battle arena in most cases, and there are times that there's 2, there are 3, maybe even 4 for a time or 2 there.
Yeah.
And it gets hectic, and it's very much enjoyable and exciting combat sequences in the game.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't find it overly difficult, though. Did you find yourself dying a lot?
Not until the boss fight. I think the boss killed me, like the final boss probably killed me 10 times before I finally got the job done.
Oh.
No, I think that the combat sequences would be more challenging if they didn't just give you unlimited health power-ups. Like the whole game, like half of the assets in this game are health power-ups. Like literally. Everywhere you go, it's health laying everywhere. And it just respawns magically.
Yep.
So like all you have to do to not die is stop shooting arrows for a minute and then go just pick some apples up. There's always plenty. So that kind of makes the game easy. I feel like on a hard mode where that wasn't the case, that we would find these sequences much more challenging.
I was actually disappointed that there wasn't a hard mode, because after I finished it, I was like, because I'm certainly not bragging. I thought this was actually a downside of the game. I thought it was too easy. I didn't die ever from climbing, and I'm a guy who has horrible fear of heights, and so I was dangling from hundreds and hundreds of feet up in the air, and I was literally, I mean, I said it in my review, but I was actually getting mad at the developers. I was like swearing at them. I wish I knew them individually by name so I could be like, screw you, blah blah blah, because here you are, you're just trying to torture me. But it was exhilarating. Like anytime, I love horror because it scares me, because it's a feeling I actually still have, and I love this. I love the climbing in this because it terrifies me, because it actually evokes an emotion in me. If you don't have a fear of heights and you just kind of love this stuff, I'm like, I don't know if it would work as well, but man, my knees were shaking, my arms were shaking. Certainly times when I was fumbling, again, exactly the words I said in my inventory, in my review, fumbling through my inventory, holding on with one hand, being like, this is ridiculous, like I'm actually going to die here, and it's just, the sense of scale was amazing, and this is like one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in VR.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think they did new players a solid in the way that they structured this game, making it so climbing heavy, and there's, literally half the game, it puts you in a position that if you look down, it's going to get your knees a little bit, because it's so high up. The elevation and scale is just so massive. And then, subsequently also, these environments that they put you in, like the sight lines go on for miles and miles, and it's beautiful. So not only are you climbing and getting that sense of height, which is going to really affect new players, very heavily. But then, once they get that gratification of making it to the summit and then look out across the landscape, they're going to get another wow moment while they're catching their breath. So it's really pretty smart when you think about it in that context.
Yeah, I do. I should probably clarify. I did say that there's no hard mode, like no New Game Plus or anything like that, and that's all true. You can certainly go back and go replay all the missions and find all the collectibles to get the platinum and do all that. But you can turn gaze tracking off, and I think it's super clear that it's using eye tracking when you're doing the challenges, when you're in combat, whenever you're fighting anything, or even just doing the hunter targets, whatever they're called, because there's no way I'm that good of a shot. Like, there's just no way.
Well, you can disable gaze tracking based aim assist,
right,
in the accessibility options. Here's the catch, though, and I don't understand why in the world it's like this. Anytime that you reboot your console, that one setting, this is the only one from what I could tell, that one setting refers back to default. So even if you disable it when you're in there playing,
yeah.
If you reboot your console, you go back in, it's enabled again. So you literally have to disable it every time that you go in. But everything else, smooth turning, smooth locomotion, all of those, subtitles off, all those settings stay where you put them. But for one reason, or for some reason, that they want people to have help with the archery. I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just a bug. That would be that would be silly. Yeah, I don't know, but I've got to try it again. I want at some point when I have the time, which obviously I don't right now because I'm trying to make my way through 40 launch titles. I do want to go through this again. I want to make sure that I get the platinum. I want to make sure I beat Aloy's time in both of the challenges. But man, it just, I don't know, such an unforgettable experience, and it kind of bums me out a little bit that some people didn't find this to be enjoyable for what it was. It certainly wasn't a traditional Horizon game. But for what it was, I thought it was fantastic. What are you laughing about over there, Rob? I missed something.
Ryan Brannon's like the PSVR Nazi over there. He always points out that it's PSVR2, not PSVR. And I think that it's funny that he points that out, because one thing that becomes obvious fairly early on in your usage of PSVR2 is that this is very much PSVR. Mm-hmm. It's next gen PSVR, and that's the best way that you can describe the experience. It's still PSVR. It's just better.
I mean, it's true for so many reasons. Like I definitely considered not changing the name of the channel to PSVR2 without Parole, because PlayStation VR is PlayStation VR. There's a feel to it. There's the first party titles. They have a feel to it. They have a look about them. They have an air of quality about them that we don't often see in VR. I mean, and the headset itself just feels fantastic when you wear it, nice and lightweight. So for so many reasons, I 100% agree with you. We got a couple tips. Markio, the GameCat Dojo co-leader, which is a fucking great name, Markio, with a Canadian $20 tip, says, Pro IPD tip. Once the blue circle completes, shake your headset left and right and up and down. If the blue ring turns back to white, you need further adjustment. Once that circle stays blue, you will never have to adjust IPD again.
And if you do the hokey pokey and turn yourself around, that's what it's all about.
Markio, I bet this is an amazing tip or recommendation that I would literally have to go through step by step and see what it does in order to do it. But once the blue circle completes, shake your headset left and right, then up and down. If the blue ring turns back to white, you need further adjustment. When the circle stays blue, you will never have to adjust the IPD again. Thank you, Markio. That's some Nintendo power shit right there. Kill Artist 1, the Dreamweaver GameCat with a $5 tip, says, with the exception of an expensive high-end PC VR setup, PSVR2 is the best VR experience out there. With the eye tracking and haptics, it excels even more so. Yeah, man, I love the subtlety of the head haptics sometimes, and sometimes too. We played so much Demio over the last 2 days. it's little things like when you're in Demio and you just kind of roll your cursor basically over your the cards that are in your deck, the cards that are in your hand, and it just goes tick, 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 like just kind of like dunks along the deck. It's little things like that are so satisfying. Also, by the way, Demio, that game's getting a fucking 9.5 out of 10. It's like if you don't already own Demio, just go buy it. Like I love that thing on Quest, but I am in love with it on PSVR2. I could play that game all day long. So make sure you pick that up. Red Rover the effing Game Cat with the $5 tip says, here we go. And this is a good comment right here. I miss stealth hiding in the grass, which is a major part of the flat screen games. That being said, I fucking love this Horizon. It's jaw-dropping gorgeous. I was a little surprised that there wasn't more stealth because they introduced that at a certain point in the game, and that's it. Like I feel like there was one real stealth segment.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting just how different this is from a typical Horizon game, right? Like it's a very different game in the same universe. But yeah, I was a little bit taken aback by that as well. It's not much stealth in it at all, actually. I mean, even the stealth sequence that the game gave me, I didn't even like. I just killed the enemies. I didn't. I stuck past them, and I thought, you know what? Am I going to let them live? No, I'm not. I just went back and killed them.
Yeah, I did something similar. I tried to be as stealthy as possible for the entire segment, and then after like a few minutes of being stealthy and being like, okay, and actually because there's an item you need there, and I was like, where the hell's the item? And I'm tired of like being down like in the grass, like not being able to see the item I'm looking for. And I'm sure I could have used hunter's vision to find it easily, but I didn't. And so I just said, fuck this. And I stood up and just started fucking wrecking house. And that's how that went down. But, and it's weird, right? Because in that one segment specifically, you don't get the combat ring. If you decide to break stealth, you're just able to walk around freely. And so
yep.
It's sort of like, hey, this works totally fine without the combat arena ring. Like I mean, I don't know.
There are ways they could have went differently about it, and I think it might have even. I know it would have made the combat sequences even better, and they were great. They really were.
Yeah.
But we could write a book about that one topic.
We could. Do you wanna? I got some free time coming up.
Later on Virtual Strangers.
Right. All right, man. Well, overall, very happy with Horizon. Any final thoughts on it before we move on?
I'm pleasantly surprised. Again, better than I thought it was. I think your review was pretty accurate and pretty accurately describes how I feel about it. About an 8.5, maybe even a 9 for me. I really did enjoy it. And I agree with your assessment with regards to price. This is a $50 game with a $60 price tag on it.
Yeah, and I do feel like they would have charged $50 for this game if it was released next year or the year after. But I think it's one of those things where they pack it in with the bundle, and they make the bundle seem like it's more attractive, right? Because then by charging more for the game, they could have charged $100 for this game and been like, you should have bought the bundle. You could have gotten a great deal on it. It makes the bundle seem more attractive.
On the other hand, I am still kind of in the mindset that a $50 game is still a $50 game. And if you consider that really 60 is the new 50 and 70 is the new 60, I'm not too mad about it. Like dollars just aren't what they used to be a few years ago. I will say this as well. I think it took me a little longer than it took you to finish it. Like it took me 6 play sessions, multiple hours each time. I was in it at least 12 hours, probably closer to 14.
Whoa.
And it took me a while to get through it.
How many of
I did spend a lot of time stacking rocks and trying to get as tall as I can, and like I tried to find as many of the collectibles as I could find. So I spent a lot of time exploring it. Admittedly,
that's how I started the game. I was like, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to find every single target. I'm going to find all the collectibles, and I'm really just going to get the most out of this. And about like 4 hours in, I was like, I gotta start making tracks here. Like this review's not gonna write itself. And so I was still going casually, right? And like, but I was only doing the hunter targets that were visible, right? That didn't require me to like really like go back to the beginning of the level and look all around. So so you played this super
Yeah.
casually. I like that.
Yeah, mostly. I did pick up the pace through the last level today because again, I thought I was going to be in there an hour, and then after an hour had elapsed, then that's when I started what turned out to be the last level. So I kind of pushed through that a little bit quicker than I typically would, but I did really slowly digest most of the game, and that's just how I play, man. I don't like rushing it, even if it would probably benefit me from a as a reviewer
Mhm.
to do so. I don't want to ever let YouTube ruin my gaming experience. So if it takes me a week or 2 weeks to make it through a game, then so be it. Yeah, I made it. I think you were going to ask me how far I made it through like the progress thing or whatever. I think it was like 79% with the trophies. So I've
Oh,
still got. Yeah.
yeah, I think I was going to ask about the hunters target specifically. Like, were
Um,
you finding yourself getting most of those because you were taking so long exploring?
yeah. I found all of them in a few levels. Most of the time, I would get them all but one. Like I would get to the end of the level and there would be one that I didn't have. And I'd be like, damn it, I missed one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got most of them. But there's enough left out there for me to justify a second playthrough at a later time. Obviously, I don't have time to play the same stuff over and over again right now. Hopefully, they'll put a hard mode or something in some other reason other than chasing trophies to go back to it. But when the time comes that I want that AAA wow again, I'll have a reason to go back in and kind of try to finish it up. Maybe it'll be my first platinum. I don't know. It feels attainable to me.
Um, yeah, that is mind blowing to me. But yeah, it would be a very cool first platinum to get. Uh, all I can think about when I think about this game is I really really hope that they're considering a sequel because this is such an amazing jumping off point, right? Like this is in my book. You were talking about like if 50 is the new 40 and 60 is the new 50 and 70 is the new 60. That whole deal, like considering that like Blood and Truth was a $40 game, right? And this is just leagues better than Blood and Truth, in my opinion. Just I mean, from everything that it does, for everything that it offers, I just think this is like a massive, massive, massive step up from Blood and Truth. And so if this is what they're able to offer us, then I just think a sequel with just a little bit more of everything that we wanted, right? And maybe a little bit more well balanced, like not so much climbing focus for all the people who,
Yes.
would like a more traditional Horizon game. I thought that it would be great to just there were so many plants everywhere. It's like a huge part of Horizon is hunting for parts and getting stuff to craft with, and also while you're doing that, you're foraging. You're getting all the different materials, all the different plants, and it's like just it didn't. I don't. I feel like they're not far from that, right? They could have just given that to us too, and so if they gave that to us in a sequel and made it feel a little bit more Horizon-y. I think they can knock it out of the park.
I agree. I feel like that they must have decided from the very beginning of um, production of this game that this was going to be their tech demo, and again, something that focused on accessibility for new players. And I feel like maybe that holds it back a little bit for gamers like us that just want the full fledged Horizon experience in VR. But even at that, it's still great for what it is, and a game that it's a game that you compare to stuff I've had like Alex and Asgard's Wrath and Stormland and these these great games that um, became popular in the interim between when PSVR fell off and when PSVR2 came back. So yeah, I would you know you'd have to play it to kind of recognize the reference, I guess. But I would say that this is more of a game along the lines of a Lone Echo game, even though it's a very different game in a very different setting. I would say that the strengths are the same in an abstract way between the two. You know, a little bit lighter on gameplay maybe than it could have been, but certainly the production values were up to 11, and it was a wow experience from beginning to end.
Lucky Singer in the chat says, really, I like Call of the Mountain a lot, but I preferred Blood and Truth more my type of game. I want a remake. We all want a remake. Absolutely. This is just so many great games just being left on the table right now by Sony. Like, where the hell is Astrobot? Where the hell is Everybody's Golf? Where the hell is Blood and Truth and The Persistence and Wipeout Omega Collection? Like, their silence on their PSVR1 games, man, is deafening. And I just feel like at some point soon, how great would it be if they just doled those out 1 month at a time for the highest tier of their Plus membership, or for their regular tier Plus membership? Just like be like, here you go.
I'd buy it.
Yeah.
I'd buy it.
If they were $10 upgrade charge, but free for all you Plus members out there.
I almost agree with that statement on Blood and Truth. I love Blood and Truth. I'm more of a shooter guy. I think the restriction in the locomotion really knocks that one back a notch when you're comparing it with a game like this. I think if they did a Blood and Truth remake and gave you full locomotion through it, that might be a better game to me than this is.
I might have to agree with you. Yeah. Jim Perona in chat with the $2 tip says, thank you. Just thank you so much, both of you. Jim Perona. And that to him in voice chat. He wasn't impressed. Was apparently not original. I guess if you go through life, Wes, with the name Jim Perona, at some point, some asshole YouTuber is gonna do that to you for the 2000th time in your life.
Jim is he's a musician, so I'm sure he's heard that joke more than a couple of times.
I'm sure. Jim's a great guy. All right, man. So Horizon Call of the Mountain gave us our AAA VR fix for the launch. One of many, obviously, sitting comfortably aside of Resident Evil Village and Gran Turismo 7. The AAA experience at the launch of PSVR2. But one of the games we want to talk about today is not AAA, decidedly. In fact, it is clearly an indie title, and that game is the Light Brigade. This is made by Functronic Labs, the same people who brought us... God, am I going to get this right? Luna? No, that's the wrong game.
No, they brought us... They did Starbear Taxi. They did Taxi. Cosmic Trip and Fuji.
Fuji! That's the one I was thinking of when I said Luna. I hated Fuji. People are like, it's so meditative. I was like, we've got enough places to meditate in VR. We don't need this one. But I actually kind of loved Starbear Taxi. So these guys, their newest game is the Light Brigade, and I believe it came out on all platforms, right? I think it came out on PSVR1 as well. This wasn't just a PSVR2 exclusive. It came out on Quest and PC, like just everywhere across the board, all at the same time, right?
I think that's right. Yes.
Wes, what kind of game is the Light Brigade?
The Light Brigade is an awesome game, and this is a game that I got heavily into before.
I love that genre.
PSVR.
Awesome games.
Yeah, it's my favorite. It's my favorite genre. It's literally awesome.
Yeah.
It's a roguelike shooter, but it isn't a typical shooter. It's unique in the sense that it focuses on realism in like the gunplay, but does in a very interesting way, fuses kind of spiritualism and fantasy element in with the realism of the gunplay. And it's very unique in that way, because I still struggle to think of another game that has kind of gone at it like this. So there's magic and realistic gunplay in the same kind of fantasy universe. And as is the case in a couple of other Functronic titles, there is this kind of underlying spiritualism with it that kind of gives it this cool vibe while you're in there playing. And I really dig this game a lot.
Yeah, that's a pretty good description of it. It feels new and it feels different, and we'll talk about all the reasons it is new and different soon, of course. But it also just, as I'm playing, I can't shake the in-death vibes, the until you fall vibes, right? Where you can't wait to see like sort of what this procedurally generated level is going to give you, and how difficult it's going to be, but also like what kind of upgrades you can find. But at the same time, it's you just know that you're in for a challenge pretty much from the get go, and like every single encounter is like life or death, and that's something I don't know if I didn't expect to fully get those vibes, but while I was playing it today, did I think I just got to say this. This is probably one of my favorite PSVR2 games that I've played so far. It's just phenomenal. Like I'm dancing around it, but let's just go right to it. I fucking love this game.
It's awesome, isn't it? It's so awesome that when you were later than you typically are at contacting me today, I looked at Wipe and I said he's totally stuck in the Light Brigade now, and he doesn't have any idea what time it is.
That was
because this is what times.
Oh, sorry, you cut out there for just a second. That's why I interrupted you. What did?
No, I say because that's what happened to me multiple times. Every time I start playing this game, like I can't stop playing it, and so I'll give you the story with me and this game on PSVR2 because, like I said, I put a lot of time into this game.
All right.
Before PSVR ever came out. So I think it might have been launch day or maybe the second day. I decided just to kind of try it out just so I could give some impressions. I played through the first boss, beat the first boss, and there were some there were some performance issues with the boss fight. So immediately after that, I just killed my own run. I didn't pick it up, and I had a show or something, so I just went on and talked about it. But after that, I talked to the developer. The developer said there's a performance patch coming up any day now. So I decided, well, we'll wait on that patch before we go back into it. Mm-hmm. Well, it took a few days. You know how Sony is. It takes a few days to push an update. If you're lucky, you get it in there in a few days. But I think it was yesterday or the day before the performance update finally dropped. So I went in after I got home from work yesterday. I'm like, you know what? Let's give an hour to the Light Brigade and just see how much better it is now in terms of performance. Well, I went in cold. Again, I killed my my run the other time I played it. So I went in on a new save, and I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think I was about this shy of finishing the game in that one run. Like I took the first rifle and went a couple levels past this, by the way. Mm-hmm. And I think literally I was at the gate to go to the last boss fight, and I got killed. But my intention was to play it for an hour. I played it for like close to 3 hours yesterday. Just this one run.
Wow. Okay, so in one run, there's so much to this. There's so much I want to break down. First, I want to break down the performance patch, right? Because I'm pretty sure I've seen the first boss. I got real close to killing it. It killed me. But when I died, I feel like when I went back in and it started me somewhere else. So there's so many little things about this game, maybe some big things that I still don't understand. And I think that's kind of the fun of a game like this. It doesn't hold your hand and doesn't say, well, here's how you do this and here's how you do this. Next time you play, this is going to happen. So I'm still figuring out little things. But okay, I've got to ask. Sure. As far as the performance goes, my frame rate is definitely pretty stuttery, like just in regular levels. Is that still the case for you?
Well, for me, I haven't really noticed it that much. Now, when I played through it yesterday, I had two specific instances where I noticed a very noticeable drop in frame rate, and it was both times literally right after I killed the boss.
Okay.
So after you kill the boss, if you're like me, you go around and you bust open all the ammo boxes because they all have souls in them, and you're collecting souls. That's XP. So I literally go around. There's like fucking 30 or 40 ammo boxes in this area that I don't need for the boss fight. So I just go around after I kill the boss. And when you do that, every time you break one open, like 2 or 3 clips pops up and starts this rotation animation in the air. And by the time you broke open all these boxes, there's like 50 to 100 of these clips floating in the air. And when that happened, I mean, I started to get a headache from it. Like I had to get the hell out of there. Um, so that happened both times, but both times it was right after the boss fight. And as soon as I put my hands together and went to the next level, it was all better again for me. Now, with that said, a lot of people have pointed out discomfort and performance issues in this game. So maybe I'm just not as sensitive to it as other people are, yourself included. But during the regular levels, I didn't really, aside from a couple of instances where it would flash 2D for a minute, like it would lose depth, just really quickly, split second. I think that happened 2 or 3 times, but other than that, I didn't notice any kind of like frame drops or anything like that.
I I don't know if I'm showing it in this video or not, but I do have to say, if I'm doing stupid things in here, it's literally because I actually forgot that I could teleport around with the right analog stick. Literally, just like I was jumping in. I had already done the tutorial the last time I played, and I only played for like 15 minutes, so nothing stuck at all. And so I jump into this without a tutorial, and I literally forgetting that I can actually teleport around. I can jump from one place to another. So I'm being stupid. That's why. Yeah. So it's worth noting that Functronic Labs is in the chat right now, and they're saying they're noting that they are working on performance in Foveation, and so. Keep that in mind if you are having performance issues like I am. They're working on it. And also, as Wes said, I do seem to be more sensitive to frame rate issues than most people. I think most people who don't notice it might feel a little sick, queasy or something like that, and that's how they notice it. But I noticed it with my eyes. I was one of the only people that had a problem with Awesome Asteroids until Reggie fixed it, and now it's silky smooth. Functronics also dropped a $10 tip in the chat. Said, wow, thanks for the kind words. Here's a Light Brigade key for PSVR2 in North America. Thank you very much. Very, very much appreciate that. I haven't been keeping an eye on the chat since then. Hopefully whoever won it will let us know. But congratulations to whoever got the key. It's a great game.
Yeah, congrats whoever got that. You're going to dig it, man. It's good.
So... Somebody in the chat, I think it was Tomcat, asked if so he said, so the game's only 3 to 4 hours. I think this is one of those games just like After the Fall. I'm sorry, just like Until You Fall. Just like The Persistence, just like any other roguelite. It's all going to depend on how good you are. That's for me only having played 2 hours, and this is the footage right here. Like, I don't feel like I made very much progress. And I kind of love dying in roguelites, right? Because then you get to go back. That's half the fun here, is because even though you're going to be starting from the beginning again, you get to go upgrade stuff. You get to go back into the game with upgraded health or upgraded. You can upgrade your weapons and make them stronger. There's all sorts of different things that you can upgrade, and so I'm going to guarantee, because I'm terrible at roguelites, even though they're one of my favorite genres. This game is going to take me probably 10 hours minimum to beat. I'm just going to guarantee that, because I'm not good at this stuff. But I'll keep you posted. I'll let you know.
Well, I'll just say that a couple of things. First of all, I probably put 15 to 20 hours in on this game on PC before I came over and played it on PlayStation. So I had the benefit of basically knowing what to expect through the second boss.
That helps.
There's 3 currently. So yeah. I also had the benefit of a really great loadout. Like I got some really good upgrades and some really nice tarot cards stacked up, so that by the time I made it past the second boss, I was benefiting a lot from having paralyzed enemies and just benefits that really helped me go a lot farther than I should. I really couldn't believe that I made it as far as I did, because I actually lost. They let you die twice before you get game over. Like, so the third death is when you get game over.
Oh,
and I assuming that you do some other things, of course, it isn't automatic. You have to, when you die, you have to kind of collect yourself the same way you would in Saints and Sinners. You know, when you die in a level, you have to go back and collect your stuff. All right, so if you die in this game, you have to go back and collect your souls, including your own. But if you die before you get back to that point, it's game over. But as long as you do that, you can die 3 times before you get game over.
interesting.
And I had died twice right after the first boss, like when I'm starting into the second set of levels, I died twice in the same part right there. I didn't think I was going to make it very far, but I carried on to go on and beat the first boss or the second boss the first time I tried, and then carried on through most of the third levels before again I finally fell at the very end. It was a lot of luck involved, plus a lot of experience. You're not going to beat this game in 3 hours. Trust me, I can assure you of that.
I'm really glad you clarified because yeah, knowing what you've said, so that took you how many? You said 15 to 20 hours on PC. That's how much experience you had before going into the PSVR2 version.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. Because I felt like I was going to sink a lot of time into this. Well, let me clarify though, because I'm really curious. Because you definitely know so much more about this than I do. When you say that after you die 3 times, you die, you're done. That includes anything you leveled up. That all that goes away. You were starting from scratch all over again after your 3rd death, right?
Well, not totally from scratch. It's like a lot of other roguelites. Like Until You Fall is a good example of this. Returnal is another. There's 2 different loadouts you're working on. One loadout is your loadout. Yuki, another great example of this. One loadout is a run loadout, stuff that you stack on your way through the run.
Right.
The other loadout, you spend experience points on after you're back out of the run. And when you're in the hub world, you can upgrade your weapons and abilities at the blacksmith. Those are permanent. You don't lose those.
Okay.
But they're very slow. Yeah. They're very slow to progress. Like you have to put a lot of time into getting those experience points. And yeah, I mean, there's really a lot to it. There's 5 different character classes to load out with different weapons and different abilities. So there's really a lot here.
Let me read a couple tips. My brain is being faulty today. I think I'm still somewhere in Village or somewhere in the Light Brigade. But Lucky Sangara with the 2 quid says, no reason. Just love listening to you guys. Yeah, Westy. Nice. Thank you, Lucky. Appreciate that. Darth Vader, the Game Cat with the $20 tip says, I've never been a fan of roguelites, but the Light Brigade has been an absolute blast. I've been finding that I've been falling in love with different genres that I would never try flat. Looking at you, Demio. This was my feeling about PSVR 1, and I'm glad it's continuing into PSVR 2. I have 0 interest in racing sims. I can't stop playing Gran Turismo. I have 0 interest in tabletop RPGs, or I never did before, and I love Table of Tales on PSVR 1, and of course now Demio on PSVR 2. Pretty much, that's I think the difference between a good flat screen game and a good VR game. If it's a good VR game, I feel like most people, whether it's their genre or not, could probably enjoy it. And that could be the game that would turn them around and make it a genre that they appreciate. Flat screen games, I don't think that happens nearly as much, not nearly as common, but that's just anecdotal. What do you think?
I think roguelites are just better now than they used to be. Like I never did like them before because they were always so samey and just boring to me. But after I got into VR, everyone I've tried just about I've really enjoyed. And then I thought, well, maybe it's just VR making them better. And then Returnal came, and I fucking love Returnal, dude. I spent over 100 hours, beating that game. And so maybe they're just better now than what they used to be. I don't know.
Maybe. And it's always difficult making the distinction between roguelites and roguelikes. Some people do, some people don't. Most people don't care. I do.
I got you.
What's that?
I said, I got you. Yeah, you're right. I kind of lumped them all into the.
I think most people
category.
do. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because Spelunky is one of my favorite games of all time. It's just phenomenal. Fuck Spelunky 2. It doesn't matter. I know it's an amazing game. I just don't care. Like Spelunky 1 was the game. I don't need a sequel to it. It was perfect, right? And that game's what, 15 years old now. I can't say I've really ever played many before that though. So, So yeah, man, the Light Brigade definitely gets a thumbs up from both me and Wes. Functronic Labs here in the chat saying that they're still working on improvements, which makes me happy because I could certainly use them. If I can make a suggestion, Functronic Labs, while I'm here, I don't know if anybody else is having this problem, but when I teleport with the right analog stick, when I bounce around, I don't know why, but it's way too easy to turn right and left. Like, yeah.
Yeah, what they should do, Eddie, if you wouldn't mind, instead of making, or at least make an option. So instead of the thumbstick direction controlling the teleport, you press the thumbstick in or something or press a button in and point to where you want to go. That way, it takes all of that lateral movement out of the equation. Because it's the same thing with me. Every now and then, I'll teleport somewhere I didn't mean to, and it's because of how much play there is in the thumbsticks.
Yeah, that's but for a game like this, I don't have too many other complaints. That's it's probably the big one right now. But this is just shot up pretty high on top of to my the games I need to review soon list. That list is obviously, I'm trying to get the big three done with Resident Evil 8 and Gran Turismo 7 and everything else that's happening right now. But this has just made it into a much higher. Oh, hey, Nick Mueller in the chat says, I think you can mess with the dead zones in the options. So maybe if I screw with that a little bit. But anyway, listen, before we call it a day, I want to remind everybody to come over and join our Discord. Again, that's a great place to troubleshoot any PSVR2 problems, but also a great place if you just love your PSVR2 to come hang out and share the excitement. That's where I hang out all day while I'm getting work done. And another great reason to join our Discord, as Professor Lilith tells us with her $5 tip, it says, backed by popular demand, the March 5th Sunday multiplayer game will be After the Fall. Snow, pew pew, zombie hordes, 2 p.m. Eastern. So if you guys don't know what this is all about, every single Sunday, Professor Lilith organizes on our Discord a multiplayer meetup. Luckily, After the Fall is this week's, and that's crossplay, I believe, right, with pretty much every headset under the sun. So if you've got it on PSVR1, Quest, PC, doesn't matter. We can all play it together. I'll probably be skipping that one. No comment.
Well, for what it's worth, too, I think you can specify in the options if you'd rather just play with PlayStation people, you can do that too.
Nice. Well, luckily, we're going to have a lot of cats that are all going to want to play this. And I do have to say, guys, like really, if you haven't given it a chance on PSVR 2 and you already own it on PSVR 1, I know there's some people out there that are like, oh, I bought it and I wasted my money. Go in and try it. Like, I've got to say that, like, this is the best version of After the Fall that I have played. The first version was on Quest 2 pre-launch, and then once the game came out, I bought it on PlayStation VR, and it was obviously much better. And then on top of that, PSVR 2, amazing haptics in the controllers, haptics in the headset. I mean, just perfect image quality. I can't imagine, Wes, I haven't played it on PC VR, but I can't imagine it looks better on PC. Like, this game, it just looks. This just feels like as good as After the Fall is going to look.
TBD. I don't know. I've heard that PC still has a slight advantage in that category, but I haven't tested this for myself. But what I will say is that even the people who claim that admit that it feels better to play on. The difference in graphics is about this much, but the difference in the haptics is like this much, and it makes a big difference the way it feels playing on PlayStation.
I mean, it's super impactful. Like, when I played with the Move controllers on PSVR 1, it was like, whatever. It was what it was. But man, the haptic feedback that you get in that Sense controller is phenomenal on PSVR 2. It feels like you're blasting away the Snowbreed rather than just like playing some video game. It's pretty impressive, I will say that. So I agree with that statement wholeheartedly. Josh Cutler with the $2 tip says, anyone played Cities VR? Haven't seen any reviews. Boy, I'll tell you, man. I think for a lot of studios out there, their goal was like, we need to have a PlayStation VR 2 game out for launch. And I think that might have bit some of them in the ass unintentionally, right? Like, if your game isn't Gran Turismo 7 or Resident Evil 8 or Horizon Call of the Mountain, if it just doesn't have a lot of attention behind it, or it's in a genre like this that people might not be, chomping at the bit for. We need a new game in this genre. I am very, very curious to see, who's had a chance to even play this yet. Wes and I have had our headsets for a week now. Cities VR is not in my top 20 that I need to play. I want to. I think it's going to be a great time when I get around to it, but it's not a priority for me, unfortunately.
It's an interesting dilemma for fast travel games here, because on one hand, with VR enthusiasts, they certainly would have benefited timing their launch a little better when maybe people are looking for things to play 6 weeks down the road. Maybe
right.
They might have had a little bit more of a share in the press. But with that said, they're sitting on what is a popular franchise, and they're moving onto the PlayStation Network, where there's a lot of casual gamers and potentially a lot of flat gamers that might buy headsets to play their favorite game, in VR. So I can understand why they would want to be there at launch. It would have benefited them a little bit to wait, but I get why they didn't wait.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think there's going to be games like the Light Brigade that are surprise hits, surprise launch titles that were certainly not on most people's radar. And I will say, just in conclusion here, Wes, I know we probably already moved on from the Light Brigade, but the trailer's still playing, so we haven't moved on officially.
Right.
This is not a game that translates well to flat screen trailers. If you've watched the trailer, even if you're watching the gameplay here, you might get a small perception of what it feels like to play this game, but you really haven't. For the most part, you haven't. Like, listening to footsteps, like the sound in this game is incredible, right? And so it's moving around and just hearing footsteps, you're like, and I do think that the footsteps seem really loud to me. Like, they could be like not behind the next tree, even though they sound like they're behind the next tree. They're like 2 trees down, right? But they're really loud. So you hear footsteps and you pay attention. And like I'm constantly, peeking out from behind this tree over here, and aiming down the sights and really just trying to pull off a headshot from as far away as possible. Like it's a super tense game. And knowing, of course, that if you die, you've got to go all the way back to the beginning, and hopefully you will get, be able to save yourself on your next run.
I can't wait till you make it deeper into this game, Brian. There's so much I want to tell you, but I don't want to spoil it. It does get better. It's good to start, but it gets better.
That's phenomenal to hear. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Man, I wonder when we're going to get a little lull in the action, Wes. Like when would a good time to release a game be? We got Before Your Eyes coming out in just a couple days. A week after that, I think we have Switchback, and then just a few days after that, we've got Saints and Sinners Chapter 2. We're in March. Like, March is stacked. March is like launch part 2.
Yeah, historically, the kind of lead up to what used to be E3 is a good place to, if you have a port like this you want to bring over, that would have been a good place to stick it. Typically, at the end of July, things start to take off, and it builds throughout the end of the year. But there is a little period there at the beginning of summer that probably this would have fit right in. But then again, I mean, at that point, the thing's been out 2-3 months, and how many sales did you miss out on not being around? So
right.
I get it.
Double M Gaming with the $5 tip says, Light Brigade, love it. 2 things are missing: Hitman and a Souls-type game. Think Hellsweeper will fill that void? Keep up the good work. After the Fall is, I don't know what this says, 100% now? 100 now? I have no idea what this says. Yeah, 100. Okay. Didn't copy well into my notepad. I don't know. This has like Souls-like elements to it. It's not, but it has. Whatever. You know what? I'm not going to try to make that point because it's not a very good one. Ben Schroeder with the $5 tip says, have to work. We'll watch the full cast later, but wanted to vent. Some of those claims in Horizon are bullshit. Cairns. Sorry, my eyes are gone. What are the cairns again? Are those aren't the rocks? Yeah, those are the rocks.
The rocks, yeah.
Yeah. He says, it's so frustrating. Tough, love you guys.
It is frustrating.
Yeah. I've only done, dude, I didn't This is so embarrassing. The first time I saw a pile of rocks sitting there in Horizon, I just went over and I was like, because the whole game, up to that point, the whole game had been about like, open this basket and here's some fruit and here's a thing to play with and here's something you can throw and here's something you can bash and here's an instrument you can play and here's another instrument you can play and now here's a wall to paint on. And so I saw a table with a bunch of rocks on it. And I said, well, they're really phoning in this stuff now. They're just, they're just giving me rocks to play with. They've run out of ideas, and we're only an hour in. I had no idea you're supposed to stack those things. And so it wasn't until like my next play session after I'd already seen Albert playing, streaming in the Discord. And I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. It's Tumble VR in Horizon. It's like a whole little mini game within itself. I love it.
Yeah, and it is tough, especially the later ones. Like they get pretty tough. If you want to stack them all and really, make them tall, you got to work at it.
If you want to stack them all, you want to make them tall. That's all I got.
You got to work at it.
Got to work at it. And then, no, that's it. Okay, cool. Oh, dude, you know what that means? It's time for 20 questions. How do you feel about that?
I feel good about it. We haven't had the best luck lately, but I think we're going to break that streak and kill it today.
Nice. Well, you know how this works, everybody. You definitely need to help Wes here. We're going to put 6 minutes up on the clock, and then you guys and him only have 20 yes or no questions to figure out what game I've got in my head. Are you ready?
I think I am.
On your mark.
Yes, we are ready.
Get Dez. Go. It happened.
So, has this game been announced for PSVR2 yet?
No.
No. Okay.
Interesting. I like
all
that.
right. So, does this game use thumbsticks?
No.
Does it have full locomotion?
This game might use thumbsticks. I played this game with Move controllers. I don't. If it has DualShock 4 support, I'm unaware. I'm looking at the PlayStation Store and it does say DualShock 4 vibration, but it also says Move controllers required. So, yeah, I don't remember playing this with the DualShock. Yeah, thanks, Sony. So I won't count that. What's your
and full locomotion? What did you say?
Yeah.
Okay, so it uses moves and it has full locomotion.
There's a big asterisk next to that full locomotion, but yeah.
I see. Are you in a vehicle or something?
Yeah, you're in a vehicle or something.
I see.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Vehicle games with move controllers. That's got to narrow it down a little bit, right? Because I can't think of one.
That's funny.
Oh, wait a minute. Are you in a mech?
No.
No, so it's not rigs or anything like that. Let's see. What do we think? Are you flying?
Yes. That's 5.
Is this good? Is the game good, Brian?
I would say it has a mixed reception, but I enjoyed it.
I see.
Yeah.
Was it developed by who was it? BitPlanet Games?
It was not developed by BitPlanet Games.
I think that's the developer of Ultra Wings, right? BitPlanet.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you're flying, or are you in a plane? I guess we should get that out of the way.
No.
No. Okay. Is it a superhero game?
Nope.
No. So it's not a superhero game. You're flying, but you're not in a plane. Again, with move controllers. I guess, are you in a spaceship? I mean, that's not a plane.
Yes, you are. That's 10.
So you're in a ship.
Yeah.
All right. So we're in space, ladies and gents. Okay. So there's a lot of these games I didn't play. Like I didn't play Eve. A lot of these guys help me out because I missed a lot of these games. Is this game exclusive to PlayStation VR?
No.
No, so it might be Eve. Did this game release in the first 2 years of PSVR?
God, I have no recollection here. No.
No. Okay. Is it from a known franchise
No.
or IP?
Nope.
Okay. Has this developer done other PSVR games?
Yes, they have, Wes.
I see. Okay. So. The detached is detached really a spaceship? I mean, aren't you like spacewalking in that? I don't think that's a bridge crew has no movement in space. I wouldn't know what question to ask about in space.
Dual shock.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. But N-Space does not use the move controllers. I will say that.
Okay, well there you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
I would think well, it wouldn't be Squadrons because it's the known IP, right? That's a Star Wars game. I mean, he said that they've done other PSVR games, so it's not No Man's Sky. I don't know anything about Gunjack, so I don't know what to ask about that one. Bout of Blood, is Bout of Blood a spaceship? I mean, I guess kinda.
No, but it's not.
I mean, it's a spaceship.
Do you know the hack that we use? The kind of the cheat question.
No, I don't.
No.
What would be the hack?
I mean, since you've only got a minute left, I'm going to tell you what the hack is, and that's
okay.
We always ask, did we talk about it during today's show?
Oh.
Or did we bring it up during today's show, or something like that?
Did we bring it up during today's show?
Yes, we did, Wes. That's 15.
What the fuck did we talk about today that uses spaceships? Oh man. Help me out, guys.
You missed it. With 20 seconds left, Wes, you said the name of this game during today's show.
What the hell? What did I do? All right. What was it? Maybe one of the roguelites I mentioned? Yuki's not a spaceship.
Nope.
What the hell? Starbear Taxi. Is it Starbear Taxi, Brian?
With 4 seconds left, it is Starbear Taxi by Funktronic Labs.
Oh, man. Well, thank you. I'm not taking a full W on that one because you gave me a big hint, and then the chat saved me with it.
Dude, when you said the name of it, I was like, this is going to come in handy. I know that he's familiar with the game. If he said the name of the game, he's going to, because I had it picked out earlier. So good stuff, Wes.
We did it.
Good stuff. That is a fun W, not just a regular W. It's a fun W. Good job, everybody. All right, you guys, don't forget, if you want to hear more about Wes's impressions about PSVR2 and, of course, the Light Brigade and, of course, Horizon Call of the Mountain, and who knows how much time he has to play Gran Turismo before his show over on Virtual Strangers tonight. But if he's got enough time, he's going to talk about that shit too. So make sure you click the link in the description below. Join Wes and his friends at Virtual Strangers. Subscribe to their channel. And also don't forget to join us over on Discord, where Professor Lilith is organizing this Sunday's meetup where we'll play After the Fall together. Maybe I'll play. I don't know. You know, I hate being such a Debbie Downer. Maybe I'll play. I got to get in there. I got to level up some of my weapons. Yeah, guys, just thank you, everybody. This has been such a fun week. Week 1 of PSVR2 is officially over. But man, it's just amazing. Just amazing.
It's the gift that keeps giving, like the Jelly of the Month Club.
Jelly of the Month Club. Is that a real thing, or is that only from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation?
Well, that was a reference. I don't know if it's a real thing or not, but you remember Eddie tells him it's the gift that keeps on giving, Clark.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, everybody who helps this channel run. Everybody from Sci-Fi Game Cat Henry, who puts the timestamps in this. Please don't hassle him. If he doesn't do it right away, the dude has a real full life and so doesn't always have the timestamps ready immediately. Thank you very much, Sci-Fi Game Cat Henry. Thank you, Jamie, who gets us up on podcast services of your choice. Don't forget that you can listen to this on Spotify. We're killing it in the numbers over there, so thank you for making that happen. Thank you to all the cats who watch the show, who support us over on patreon.com/withoutparole Thank you to all the cats who became members of this channel on YouTube without even really knowing what that's about, because I'll tell you right now, I don't really know what that's about quite yet either. We'll figure it out together. Everybody who watches the show, supports us on Patreon, tipped during today's show and helped Wes with 20 questions. And of course, all of you who sat back and watched the show and didn't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there. And we love you just as much. Happy West Day, Wes.
Happy West Day, Brian.
Let's go. My favorite part was knowing that Funktronic was in the chat, and they weren't guessing Starbear Taxi.
I'm so glad we pulled it out at the last second, because I would have felt like an asshole if I didn't get it. So yeah, good on you, chat. Whoever it was in the chat who reminded me. Thank you.
Good stuff. I think the first person I saw say it might have been Professor Lilith, but then everyone piled on. I was like, yeah, that taxi game. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right, Wes. Enjoy the rest of your night. Good night, everybody.